What's up, party people, and welcome to Stoniecast number 146 and season 5, episode 8 of Thoughts and Hunches, making money in bunches and sucker punches. It's your boy Stony coming back at you for the 146th time, and I'd like to welcome all of my fellow scumbags, hoodlums, lowlifes, shady characters, heathens, scoundrels, altar boys with unhealthy relationships with their priests, hustlers, wise guys, people that give themselves nicknames and speak in the third person, crews, foul-mouthed, raging alcoholics, MLB players that have got into a fight with Bryce Harper, cheats, disasters that take pride in a $4 profit on the WNBA, crews, gangsters, fienders with abusive language, and degenerates. I mean, let's face it, basically anybody with a massive gambling problem. If you're new to the show, hey, that means you probably fit into one or a few of those categories. So welcome. Because you're now one of us, gooba gobble, one of us, we accepted one of us. Sorry, I get a little excited every now and then. Hey, make sure you hit the subscribe button right down here in the lower right-hand corner and ring that bell. That way you can get notified every time I put out a new video. To spread the word's also very easy. Just tell other degenerates and scumbags, you know, crews, to go to YouTube and enter Thoughts and Hunches in the search bar. That'll take you directly to my page and you can get dialed into everything that I drop on you. Also, if you're new and you don't know what's what with this channel, it's college and pro football winners, MLB playoff winners, and college basketball winners, which is only a couple weeks away. The books don't expect a guy like me to deliver this many winners, right? I'm an outlier and I'm a disruptor. I'm like the Beastie Boys. I disrupt.
Step inside the party, disrupt the whole scene.
That's precisely what I do. I go to the mattresses and I get the info for you every week in order to get you to the window with a ticket to cash. Now, before I get to those picks, right? As usual, I have some thoughts.
Give me all you got! Listen, give me all you got!
Sure. Tell him, Vincent. I want to say that I'm officially done with MLB player celebrations. This may sound like I'm being the get off my lawn guy, and it was better in my day. Now, I don't mind a little hot dogging here and there. That's fine. But why does every single player in the MLB have to do some sort of celebration every time they get on base? Why? A broken bat bloop single to left. You get on first base and you got to act like an idiot and wave your hands and flail and do all that stuff, right? I mean, I just don't get it, right? You got to gesture to your teammates in the dugout, right, in some sort of cheesy fashion. This is October where the big boys show up, not doing these stupid, silly celebrations. If someone goes deep, I don't mind bat flipping and shouting at your dugout as you're rounding the bases. You know, that's all fine. I'm good with that. But every batter, every single time that a batter reaches base, whatever you're doing, what the hell's going on? Right? It's ridiculous. Also, speaking of the MLB playoffs, these are just absolutely riveting, right? My picks have been up and down, right? But they've been more up than down, right? And every game is not short on drama. This is what it's all about, right? I mean, it's way more exciting than watching the NFL. But then again, nowadays kind of everything is. College football is just as riveting. But right now, probably because it's only week 6 in the NFL, but there's a lot of bad football being played, right? I get a text message on Monday night from a certain UPS driver that shall remain nameless. Oh, did you see that play from Mahomes? No, I'm watching baseball. Why would I do that? Yeah, I bet the game, but whether I'm watching it or not doesn't matter. I mean, I lost the game, but that's beside the point. I'm watching baseball. This is October. This is it. After this, there's no more baseball until freaking April. You know, no thanks. In all 4 division series so far, before last night's games, they were all tied up at 1-1. That's awesome. And I'm just hoping that at least 3 of these go the distance, right? Before the league championship series begin next week, but we'll see. Now, let's move on to Stoney's NCAA top 12 rankings. I'll do this every week until the final 12 are selected. These are based on current AP rankings and what I've seen on the field. So some teams may have higher rankings than others based on who they've beaten. I'm just going to list them without going in too deep because I don't want this to be an hour-long video, and we got a game coming up pretty soon. Texas is number 1 and just keeps rolling. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Ohio State is second, but they still haven't played anyone until this Saturday, where they're going to play my number 3 team, and that's Oregon, who hasn't been dominant, but they've been cruising. Penn State is 4th with a couple of nice wins. Georgia's 5th, even with the 1 loss at Alabama, who's 6th with a loss at Vandy last week. Yeah, both of those teams are ahead of Miami. They're 7th. They're undefeated with 2 wins that are losses in my eyes over the last 2 weeks. So it's just a matter of time. I'm not worried about the Canes because it's going to be a spectacular. I want them to go undefeated. Run the table. Go undefeated into the playoffs and lose by 30 in the playoffs. That's what's going to happen. Cane fan. Ole Miss is 8th with their 1 loss last time out because that loss looks better than the loss that number 9 Tennessee took in Fayetteville. Iowa State is 10th as they're undefeated, but their schedule looks like Miami's. BYU's 11th as they're undefeated and their schedule starts to get tougher. And finally, I've got Indiana at number 12 because they're also undefeated. Apologies to Pittsburgh, who's the last unbeaten team that is not in my top 12 yet. Okay, argue all you want, but I don't give a shit. Okay, wait, did I forget LSU? Oh, no, apparently I didn't. Hell, they shouldn't even be ranked. I know college football, all right? And that's what I've seen so far. Look out for my new list next week, because we got a few really big, well, one massive game, and then a couple other good matchups coming up this weekend. Finally, with MLB playoffs underway, I will continue to put daily picks in the comment section of this video like I've done the last few days, all right? As for the week that was, after a 1-2 start to college football on Friday, I dropped a big-time 12-6 on Saturday to finish 13-8, which I'll take every single week, right? I hit NFL Thursday night football, but that's where the good vibes ended in the NFL. A 5-9 rest of the weekend was certainly not good, especially considering I missed Sunday night and Monday night. MLB, though, like I said, was up and down. 20-16 on the week ain't too bad. And add that to the 7 wagers that were plus money, I did just fine and ended up with another winning week. Here are the updated numbers. Last week overall, 39 wins, 33 losses, 54.17%, not great, but still in the black. NCAA football regular season, for the season, 71 wins, 54 losses, 56.8%. That's up a full percentage point from last week. NFL regular season, 45 wins, 33 losses, 5 pushes, 57.69%. That's down 3 points. That's what happens when you go 6-9. MLB playoffs 23-21, 52.27%, and overall, all 7 weeks, every single pick that I've given you, 139 wins, 108 losses, and 5 pushes, 56.27%. Now, that's down, right? That's down 1.5 points from last week, but it still ain't bad at all.
Hanging around.
It's, I mean, that's what happens. You're hanging around. So anyway, all right, let's move on and let's start the week. Ready? Episode 8. My week began last night with the 2 NLCS matchups on different coasts. I hit the Mets-Phillies over, but missed on the Phils run line. And in the nightcap in San Diego, I wound up hitting both sides with the Padres and the over. So I'm 3-1 to start the week, feeling good. Today is a joyous day, right? All 4 games go today. And the first one starts at 3:08 in about an hour from now on TBS at Comerica Park in the Motor City. The Tigers and Guardians meet up in Game 3 with the series tied at 1. 37-year-old Alex Cobb gets the start for Cleveland, and he'll oppose Keter Montero for Detroit. I don't like either of these pitchers, but A.J. Hinch's Tigers have been electric, and their first home game in a while should be extremely loud. I'll take the Tigers at home on the money line at -110 and over 7.5. 5:08 p.m. on FS1 at Citi Field in Queens. The Mets and Phillies meet for Game 4 with the Mets a win away from the NLCS. Jose Quintana gets the ball for the Mets, while Ranger Suarez gets the ball for Philly, and they try to save their season. The Mets pounded the Phils bullpen twice, including last night, but Ranger Danger will go at least 6 and leave with the lead. I'll take the Phils to even up the series and send it back to Stonedelphia for Game 5 on the money line and over 7.5. 7:08 Eastern at Kauffman Stadium in San Diego. The Royals host the Yankees in a huge swing Game 3 with the series tied at a game apiece. Clark Schmidt goes for the Yanks against Seth Lugo for the Royals. Lugo was an all-star this year and had a great season. Schmidt has been spectacularly unspectacular. So give me the Royals on the money line at -105 and over 8. Finally, in the nightcap at 9:08 Eastern at Petco Park in San Diego, the Padres and Dodgers meet in Game 4 of a very fun series, as the Pods now have a 2-1 lead. Dylan Cease gets the nod for San Diego, while the Dodgers are going with an opener. I've never been a fan of this strategy. I get it during the regular season, but not in October, right? But I've never been a fan of Dave Roberts' managerial style either way. Another year, another $300 million payroll, and another early exit from the playoffs. I'll rant on that next week like I do every October. But for tonight, give me the Padres on the run line at +165, which is great value, and over 8. Now, I know there's NCAA games tonight and tomorrow, but I'm going to lay off. And I'm going to get my football week going tomorrow night, 8:15 Eastern on Amazon at Lumen Field in C-Town, where the 2-3 49ers are a 3-point road chalk at the 3-2 Seahawks, and the total's 47.5. Right now, these are just two bad teams. Seattle has dropped 2 straight after a 2-0 start. 2-0 start or 3-0? 3-0 start. Yeah, that's one. Yeah, there you go. All right. 3-0 start, dropped 2 straight, right? And Sunday's loss at home to the shitty-ass New Jersey Giants was very telling. The 49ers are up 3 out of the last 4 and have blown double-digit leads in the fourth quarter. In division in 2 of them, right? Including being shut out in the second half on Sunday at home to Arizona. Seattle is a reverse turf home underdog, which went 0-2 last week, but still sit at 7-5 on the season. I'll roll with the Seahawks at home, catching a field goal. Let's move on to college ball now, and we'll get it going Friday night, 8 Eastern on Big Fox at SECU Stadium in College Park. 3-2 Maryland is a 9.5-point home chalk versus 2-3 Northwestern, and the total's 45.5. Maryland's 2 L's were to unbeaten Indiana and Michigan State, while Northwestern's only 2 wins have been over Eastern Illinois and Miami, Ohio. Might as well be Miami, Florida. Maryland is the obvious choice here. Terps win, but the Wildcats cover somehow. Give me Northwestern +9 and a hook. Friday night, 9 Eastern on CBS Sports Network at Maverick Stadium in Logan. 4-1 Nevada, Las Vegas is an 18-point road favorite at 1-4 Utah State, and the total 64.5. State has dropped 4 straight while allowing their opponents to score an average of 45 per. UNLV is seething after blowing a late lead last week at home to Syracuse in overtime in a game that the Rebels scored 44 points and lost. Friday will be ugly, early. I'll take UNLV on the road laying 18.5. Is that a lot? I don't know. We'll find out. 10:30 Eastern Friday night on ESPN at Mountain America Stadium in Tempe. 16th ranked Utah, 6.5-point road favorites at 4-1 Arizona State, and the total is 45.5. A head-scratching loss at home to Arizona 2 weeks ago was the only blemish on Utah's otherwise perfect season, and they had the week off to get healthy and stew over that loss. Now they head to Tempe, where ASU's lone blemish was against the best team they've played so far, Texas Tech. Tonight, they make it a game and won't let Utah run away and hide. Utah wins, but State gets the cover, +6 and a chunk at home. Ready to move on to Sunday? Saturday, sorry. That's just Friday. Excuse me a second. Well, I'm watching Jimmy Rollins, Pedro Martinez, and the Grandy man, Curtis Granderson. And why does Jimmy Rollins talk like this? You know, is it an Alameda thing? Because it ain't a Bay Area thing, but J-Roll talks out of the side of his mouth. And, Dusty Baker's Dusty. Freaking Dusty. Guy's 137 years old. Okay, Saturday. We'll get it all started in the ACC at noon Eastern on ESPN at AFCU Stadium in Winston-Salem, where 10th ranked Clemson is a 20.5-point road favorite at 2-3 Wake Forest, while the total is listed at 60.5. Since their blowout loss at Georgia to start the season, Clemson has seriously got it together and are this close to entering my rankings. And they've been steamrolling teams. Wake's defense is a total mess right now. So I'm not going to play the side, but over 60.5 has to be the right play here, especially when Clemson touches 50 on the road. Noon Eastern on FS1 at SHI Stadium in Piscataway. 4-1 Rutgers is a 2.5-point home favorite versus 3-2 Wisconsin, and the total's 39.5. Rutgers suffered their first loss of the season last week in the land of Lincoln, while Wisconsin rebounded from back-to-back losses to Alabama and USC by pounding Purdue. I think they continue that this week on the road. Not only Wisconsin plus 2.5, but make sure to feel free to sprinkle a little something on that money line.
Sprinkle me, man.
Every now and then you got to do a little sprinkling, and ain't nothing wrong with the sprinkling, all right? Staying in the Big Ten at noon Eastern on Big Fox at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. Wave to the Children's Hospital. 3-2 Iowa is a 2.5-point home chalk versus 4-2 Washington and the total's 40.5. Iowa was dealt with last week by Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State just went in there and just pounded them in one of my many winners.
Hoo-ah!
Yeah, that's what it was. That's kind of what it felt like, too. You're welcome, by the way. While Washington is coming off an impressive win over Michigan convincingly, I'm not sold on Iowa yet, right? I'm just not. So give me UW on the road, catching 2.5, and go ahead with a little sprinkle.
Sprinkle me, man. Sprinkle me.
You got to. Noon Eastern on ABC at Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa. 7th ranked Alabama is a 21.5-point home chalk versus 3-2 South Carolina. The total's 50.5. Bama's historic loss right here in Music City last week was enough to piss off Kalen DeBoer and the Tide, while South Carolina was getting curb stomped at the Grove in Oxford. Bama returns home and cruises. Roll Tide minus 21.5. 3:30 Eastern on ESPN at the stadium formerly known as the Giant Ketchup Bottle in the Steel City, USA. 22nd ranked Pittsburgh is a 3-point home favorite versus 3-2 Cal, and the total's 59.5. Pitt just keeps on winning, and they should be ranked higher, like they are in my poll. While Cal has dropped 2 straight to the 2 bad Florida schools in the ACC. Florida State's only win was over Cal, and the Golden Showers showed how soft they were on last Saturday night in blowing a 3.5 touchdown lead at home to a Miami team that isn't very good. Oh, God. Give me Pitt, lay the field goal. Have to. 3:30 Eastern on ABC at the Cotton Bowl in Big D. Top-ranked Texas is a 14.5-point road favorite over 18th-ranked Oklahoma, and the total's 49.5 in the 120th edition of the Red River Shootout. I love the Red River Shootout. Always have. Liked it when I was a kid. Hasn't changed. You can call it what you want. It'll always be the shootout, right? You call it the rivalry. No, don't call it the rivalry. Call it the shootout because that's what it is, right? It's hard to believe that Texas is the last unbeaten SEC school left, but that's for good reason, right? They're just blasting everyone in sight. Oklahoma, despite being suffocated by Tennessee 2 weeks ago, is still 4-1. And this rivalry is always tough, right? Texas rolls, but OU catches the back door. Give me Oklahoma catching 14 in a chunk. 3:30 Eastern on CBS at the Coliseum in La La Land. Fourth-ranked Penn State is a 5.5-point road favorite at 3-2 Southern Cal, and the total's 48.5. SC is seeing how playing in the Big Ten is different than beating up on Cal and Stanford every year, as they've lost 2 of 3, both on the road, right? They're a different team at home, though. They really are. And while I've said for years that Penn State beats everyone except Ohio State and Michigan, they'll probably win again, but I like SC at home catching 5.5. 3:30 Eastern on NBC in front of Touchdown Jesus in South Bend. 11th-ranked Notre Dame's a 23.5-point home favorite versus 2-3 Stanford, and the total's 45.5. Notre Dame's defense is legit, and Stanford's just can't score. I'm planning on the Irish offense to roll up some points Saturday, so give me Stanford Notre Dame over 45.5. 4 Eastern on Big Fox at Lavelle Edwards Stadium in Provo. 14th-ranked BYU's a 4-point home favorite versus 3-2 Arizona, and the total set at 49.5. BYU just keeps on winning, and they return home after 3 of the last 4 on the road. Zona's battled in their inaugural bid in their Big Ten, right? They're playing well their first season, but they still dropped 2 out of 3, including last week to Texas Tech in one of my many winners. That's what my many winners feel like every single time. You're welcome, by the way. BYU is the pick until they prove me wrong. Cougars -4 at home. 4:15 Eastern on SEC Network. Between the Hedges in Athens, 5th-ranked Georgia's a 32.5-point home favorite versus 1-4 Mississippi State, and the total's 53.5. Georgia's legit and absolutely dominant, right? Aside from that one loss. But MSU has been struggling.
I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
Because when they struggle, they struggle. Thanks, Joe. Georgia rolls, but Hail State gets the cover. Now, if they lose 41-3 or something like that, I'll be upset, but I don't see that happening. Give me MSU catching 32.5 on the road. 7 Eastern on ESPN at Neyland Stadium on Rocky Top. 8th-ranked Tennessee is a 15.5-point home chalk versus 3-2 Georgia. That's wrong. That just can't over Florida. Yeah, there we go. That was a misprint there. Tennessee's 15.5-point home favorite versus Florida, and the total's 54.5. UT's inexplicable loss in Fayetteville last week was clearly a bad look. But they're back on Rocky Top to face the Gators, who've now won 2 straight. And they saved Billy Napier's job, at least temporarily. Back in Knoxville, though, I know it's a rivalry, but the Dogs don't have the horses. The Vols do. UT -15.5 at home. 7 Eastern. Tell him, Pedro. I could listen to Pedro talk about pitching all day. I love Pedro. He holds the ball. Pedro, you're the man. 7 Eastern on FS1 at Valley. By the way, Pedro, no last name needed. Valley Children's Stadium in Fresneck. 4-1 Washington State is a 3.5-point road favorite at 3-2 Fresno State. The total 61.5. Wazoo suffered their first loss on the Smurf turf in Boise 2 weeks ago, on the same day Fresno was getting crushed in America's Playground by UNLV. Both schools are coming off a bye, and I'm on Washington State here, +3 and a hook on the road. That's wrong. -3 and a hook on the road. Yeah, because I would have sprinkled. Washington State -3.5. That's your pick. 7:30 Eastern on CBS Sports Network at Mackey Stadium in the biggest little city in the world. 4-1 Oregon State is a 4.5-point road favorite at 2-4 Nevada, and the total is 48.5. Nevada inexplicably is 2 wins, while OSU has been rolling, and their only loss was the Civil War blowout to Oregon. The Beavers dance easily here. Give me Oregon State -4.5 in a game that's approaching lock status. The game of the day goes at 7:30 Eastern on NBC at Autzen Stadium in Eugene, where second-ranked Ohio State is a 3.5-point road favorite at number 3 Oregon, and the total's 52.5. They're both undefeated and really untested, save for Oregon's slim win over Boise State. The Ducks have failed to cover in 4 of their 5 wins this year. But this is Autzen at night. So Oregon should get it right? They absolutely should get it done, right? Wrong. They got backdoored last week by Michigan State in another one of my many winners.
Hoo-ah!
Yeah, something like that. You're welcome. That's exactly what it was. Buckeyes deliver their case to be the nation's top team with a win and a surprisingly easy one. Give me the Buckeyes, my Ohio State -3.5 on the road. 7:30 Eastern on ABC at Tiger Stadium in Collin, Baton Rouge. 9th-ranked Mississippi's a 3.5-point road favorite at 13th-ranked Louisiana State. And the total 64.5. Ole Miss rebounded from their home loss to Kentucky 2 weeks ago by beating up South Carolina in Columbia last week, while the Chinese Bandits still haven't beaten anyone impressive. And that loss to USC at the start of the season, it ain't aging well. With every USC loss, call me crazy, but I'm going to take my 4th straight short road favorite. Sorry. Jesus, I'm kind of a little out of whack today. My 4th straight short road favorite. Give me Ole Miss -3.5 in a shootout under the lights on the Bayou. 7:30 Eastern on SEC Network at Kroger Field in Lexington. 3-2 Kentucky's a 13.5-point home favorite versus 3-2 Vanderbilt, and the total's 45.5. UK turned their season around and are really playing well right now following their win last week at the Grove in Oxford. But Vandy's coming off an historic win over Alabama, and they've covered 4 or 5 this year. Give me Vandy on the road, catching 13.5. 8 Eastern on Big Fox at Milan Puskar Stadium, Morgantown. Love Morgantown. 11th ranked Iowa State is a 3.5-point road favorite at 3-2 West Virginia, and the total set at 51.5. Sorry, I'm just trying to get a little situated here. Is that right? Oh, hang on. I'm missing. Yeah, 51.5. Right, there you go. Matt Campbell's Cyclones, right? They continue to impress, right? And their only real impressive win, though, was at Iowa. West Virginia got their swag back after blowing a late lead to Pittsburgh last month, and they keep, you guessed it, hanging around.
Get off. Hanging around.
Love you, Teddy. God, can't get enough of that one either. I like the Mountaineers at home here, catching 3 with a sprinkle on the money line. Earl?
Sprinkle me, man.
9 Eastern on Big Ten Network at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. 3-3 Minnesota's a 5.5-point road chalk at 1-4 UCLA, and the total's 40.5. Minnie got a huge win last week in Stoniapolis over USC, and now try to fly to the West Coast and make it 2 for 2 against the Big Ten's newest members. UCLA is bad, but they've now covered 3 straight against LSU, Oregon, and Penn State. Minnesota wins, but the Bruins get the cover. Give me UCLA plus 5.5. 10:15 Eastern on ESPN at Folsom Field in Boulder. 18th ranked Kansas State is a 4.5-point road favorite at 4-1 Colorado, and the total's 56.5. K-State rebounded from their loss in Provo 2 weeks ago to BYU by beating up on Oklahoma State last week. Colorado is coming off a bye, and they're 4-1 with the softest schedule west of Miami. Give me K-State, forgive the pun, but in prime time in Boulder. Wildcats -4.5. And finally, this week's Degenerate Special, of which I'm now 3-3 on the season after last week's easy win, goes at 11 Eastern on CBS Sports Network at the TC Ching Complex in Stony Lulu, where 17th ranked Boise State is a 17-point road favorite at 2-3 Hawaii, and the total 61.5. Boise's rolling right now, and Boise State just is, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense because the better they play, right, the better they're looking. Hawaii's just not good, right? Plain and simple, right? 17 points is a lot. I don't give a shit. Boise Superback Ashton Genty, he should win the Heisman right now. He absolutely should. And he's going to rush for close to, if not over, 200 yards against the Rainbow Warriors. Give me Boise and lay the lumber to close out the week. 23 college plays may seem like overkill, but with the NFL starting their byes last week, there are a few games missing every week. So another week, another NFL game in London. So let's go to Sunday at 9:30 Eastern on NFL Network at Tottenham. Tottenham or Tottenham? I don't freaking know because I don't watch soccer. Hotspur Stadium. That's what it is. Tottenham, England. 3-2 Chicago is a 2.5-point favorite versus the 1-4 Jaguars, and the total is 44.5. The Bears aren't as good as 3-2, and Jayville is better than 1-4. Give me the Jags catching 2.5 with a sprinkle. Got to. You just have to. 1 Eastern on Big Fox at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. The 3-2 Packers are 5-point home favorite versus 2-3 Arizona, and the total is 49.5. The Pack have won 3 out of 4, but haven't beaten anyone, while Zona rebounded from a blowout loss to Washington by taking out San Francisco last week on the road. I like the Cards here on the road +5. 1 Eastern on CBS at Nissan Stadium right here in Music City, USA. 2-3 Indianapolis comes in as a 1-point road favorite at 1-3 Tennessee. Two bad teams meet up with a backup facing a backup and a 40-year-old backup. Give me the Colts on the road -1. Because I have to bet on it. 1 Eastern on CBS at Gillette Shaving Cream Stadium in Foxborough. 4-1 Houston's a 7-point road favorite at 1-4 New England. And the total is 37.5. Houston wore down Buffalo last week. They just wore them down, beat them in a big win for the Texans, while New England is proving exactly just how terrible they are. I know the rules about NFL teams favored by more than a touchdown, especially this year, but I don't give a shit. Houston rolls. Texans. Yep, Texans. That's the one, -7. 1 Eastern on Fox at the Caesars Superdome in the Big Easy. 3-2 Buccaneers are 3.5-point road favorites at the 2-3 Saints. And the total is 41.5. The Bucs have lost 2 out of 3 and need to win away from home. Remember when the Saints were 2-0? Remember that? Yeah, I don't either. I'm on the Bucs here, laying 3.5 on the Bayou.
Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the Bayou.
Oh, Henry. Yeah, when you don't like, when you love him as much as I do, he's Henry. 1 Eastern on Fox at the Link in Stoniecast. 2-2 Eagles are 8.5-point home chalk versus 1-4 Cleveland, and the total is 43.5. Philly's coming off a bye, but they inspire absolutely no confidence in anyone these days, especially with me. So they're 1-3 against the number. Cleveland has cost me as I've backed them 3 weeks in a row and lost all 3. They're a total mess, and it's just a matter of time before they're forced to make a costly decision and sever ties with Massage Watson. Philly can't beat anyone by double digits. It just, I'm nuts, but give me Cleveland catching 8.5 on the road. Philly shouldn't be favored by 8.5. Just doesn't make any sense. But I shouldn't take Cleveland 4 weeks in a row either. 1 Eastern on CBS at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. The 3-2 Ravens are 6.5-point favorites over the 4-1 Commando Skins, and the total is 52.5. The media's love affair with Jaden Daniels slows down after Baltimore crushes Washington in the Battle of Maryland. Ravens 6.5 is closing in on my pick of the week. 4 Eastern on CBS at Empower Field in the Mile High City. 2-2 Chargers are 3-point road favorites at 3-2 Denver, and the total is 35.5. Denver's won 3 straight, and you know what? I had them in all 3.
Hoo-ah!
I did. I absolutely did. When you get those and you cover 3 in a row on the same team, usually a good sign. You're welcome. And San Diego, they're still San Diego to me. They've lost 2 straight, but they're coming off a bye. in what should be a slugfest between two good defenses. I'm going to roll with Denver at home catching 3. Why? Because they're a reverse turf home underdog. The second of the week with Seattle on tomorrow night. 4 Eastern on CBS at Allegiant Stadium in America's Playground. 3-2 Pittsburgh is a 3-point road favorite at the 2-3 Raiders, and the total is 36.5. The Raiders are a total mess. No one knows who their quarterback is. The 2 quarterbacks they have are both shitty, and the Steelers are banged up. I like the Steelers on the road here laying the field goal because they actually play defense. 4:25 Eastern on Fox at Jerry World in Arlington. 3-1 Detroit is a 3-point road favorite at 3-2 Dallas, and the total is 52.5. Both teams have won 2 straight. Both defenses aren't very good. I like Detroit here laying 3 on the road and over 52.5. 4:25 Eastern on Fox at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. The 3-2 Falcons are 6-point road favorites at the 1-4 Panthers, and the total is 47.5. Atlanta's won 3 out of 4, and they were all comebacks, while Carolina just isn't very good. 6, though, for the Falcons? Nope, not going to happen. Give me the dog. I'll dance with Carolina plus 6. Another Sunday night football loss last week has me at a dismal 1-4 on the season. So I really need to step that up. This week's Sunday night matchup goes at 8:20 Eastern on NBC, like they all do, at Snoopyville in New Jersey, where the 1-4 Bengals are 3.5-point road chalk at the 2-3 New Jersey Giants, and the total set at 49. I don't care that the Giants push the Seahawks all over the field on Sunday, and that the Bengals defense is awful, and Zach Taylor continues to lose games with bad coaching. Bengals 3.5, minus 3.5 on the road. Finally, another New Jersey back-to-back. When you get them, the Jets on one night, the Giants on the other, vice versa, both at home in the same stadium in New Jersey, whatever. This one concludes the week at 8:15 Eastern on ESPN at Snoopyville, where 3-2 Bills are 2.5-point road favorites at the 2-3 Jets, and the total's 41. This one's borderline stay-away game. You know, after everyone fell in love with Buffalo following their 3-0 start, they've shown they're still the Bills by losing 2 straight. Sean McDermott's head-scratching coaching decisions have proven very costly. Now there's questions about whether or not they should have brought Josh Allen back and the concussion protocol. Oh, everyone's all pissed off. Sean McDermott, oh, man, I don't know. I mean, he just seems like a lousy coach to me. Well, you know, speaking of coaching, the Jets fired Robert Saleh yesterday. And interim coaches always fare well at the beginning. Give me the Jets at home, catching 2.5 to close out the week. How does that sound? 15 NFL plays to go along with 23 college picks. Gives us 38 on the week now. Jazz Chisholm showing up with your pink. Rock your pink, Jazz. Look at you. I feel you. 38 picks on the week. 22 wins is our goal, but 24-25 is absolutely possible. Let's hit them early and let's hit them hard. MLB playoffs will continue every day in the comments section of this video. And I'll have series picks as well coming up as daily individual game selections throughout the playoffs. So I'm going to wind up with over 50 picks for the week. All right? After today's game, I'll post my picks for tomorrow's game in the comments section of this video tonight. Make sure to check back to next Wednesday as Stoniecast 147 is going to be coming at you. So until then, just remember, if you want to win big, you got to bet big. You can't go broke taking a profit. Scared money don't make money. For me, the action is the juice. The difference between winning and making money is that anyone can win betting chalk, but you can't make money unless you take the dogs. There's a difference. A big difference. Do you want to win or do you want to make money? Figure it out, Cruz. There's money on the streets that can't be ignored. And finally, good luck to you. Still miss you, Gooch. My dog.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.